Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Perpetual here. If you're new, you are warmly welcome. Guys, today I am meal prepping and I am bringing you along. So come along and let's get started. First on the list is some okra stew. So I am starting with some steamed and seasoned goat meat into my palm oil, and I'm going to let that cook for a few minutes. And I'm also going to get started on my bean stew with some palm oil and some momone or fermented fish and get that going. I like to start by frying my steamed goat meat in the oil just to allow it to infuse the flavors properly. I'm gonna go ahead and add some sliced onions into my pot with my goat meat and allow that to cook together. And you guys know it, for the past couple of weeks I've been hammering on the fact that I like to prep my ingredients whenever I have time so that when I go to cook it is a lot faster. And once I cover that up in my other pot, I'm going to put my leftover onions from the first pot. And like I said, it makes it a lot easier. And when I'm making stuff like this, it is way faster because I don't even have to worry about going back and forth because the ingredients are similar when I start the meal. Anyway, I'm going to cover it up and give that some time to cook. These are the two that I started, but I have more coming up. I like to do bulk meal prepping so that I am free for, well, at least a majority of the week. And what I am adding to my okra base is some blended onion, pepper, ginger, and garlic. And then for my bean stew, I am just adding some blended onion and pepper. So in this case, when I blended it to put in the fridge, I had to label it because one had ginger and garlic and the other didn't. So depending on what I'm making will determine the type that I use. And then next up, I am adding some sliced tomatoes into my stew for the beans. And I'm going to give this a quick stir and cover it up and allow it to cook for a few more minutes. So yes, there's a lot of back and forth, but it is a lot faster to cook them together. And now, so for my okra, I am going ahead to add my washed and cleaned crab and going to give that a stir. Allow that to cook for just a few minutes, and then I will go ahead and add more. So in addition to the crab, I'm also going to add some smoked tuna. I have just cleaned it out, taken out as much of the bones as possible, and I'm going to get that in and give that a quick stir as well. And then I had some wele that I had forgotten about, so I went ahead to wash that and get that into my base as well. And now I'm just adding a little bit of a seasoning cube, or if you're using a tablet, you can use about half of the tablet. So in this pot here, I have the base of my contomere stew as well. Guys, there's a video recently that I made with a step-by-step guide on how to make the contomere stew. It is nice and simple. And so the base has been started here. And I'm just going ahead to add my sliced tomatoes. Again, because I had prepped it ahead of time, it made life a lot easier. So I do this with contomere stew as well, but when I'm making okra stew and I am making a large portion, I like to portion out the base so that if during the week we're having a second serving, all I have to do is add the okra to the base and my stew is done and ready to go, because I like to keep something like okra as fresh as possible. So what I'm making today is what we'll use for maybe today or just the following day, so that I'm not storing it in the fridge for long. And so I had just gone ahead to add my cooked okra. So it has okra and a few chunks of garden eggs as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my boma or jute leaves and give that a quick stir. It does not need a long time to cook, so I put that at the end just for a pop of color, and then it doesn't get lost in the stew as well. Alright, so for our contomere, I am using some smoked tuna and some smoked mackerel, and I just dropped the bowl into the pot, but hey, life goes on. And so gave that a quick stir, and then just checking on my okra really quickly, and it is good to go. And then I went ahead to add my blended egusi or melon seeds, and when I'm blending it, I add a bit of salt to it to help it curdle a lot more. And you want to lower the heat if you can, but on a coal pot, you just want to keep an eye on it so that it does not burn. And so I gave it a quick stir early on just so that I don't burn it. And then now I'm back to my bean stew, and I'm adding my cooked beans into it. And again, guys, I do not put any salt in the beans when I go to cook it. So after putting the beans into the base stew, I always give it a taste to make sure that the salt content is okay, and I adjust it accordingly. And at this point, our bean stew is looking amazing, and the last part of our contomere is just to add the cooked or steamed contomere into the stew. And guys, if you do not have access to fresh contomere, spinach is a great alternative. You can use fresh or frozen. Just make sure to get out the excess water if you're using the frozen type, just so that it does not water down your stew. And then the last part of my meal prep was some jollof based stew that I made. And guys, for this, it is not specifically for jollof. I'll be using it for, even if we're having rice and stew, all I have to do is get my protein of choice into the stew and I am good to go. So yes, definitely having a base stew in my house makes life a lot easier. And now that my contomere is almost ready, I'm going to start portioning this out as well. So I have one going into a larger bowl for when we're all at home, and a smaller bowl for a random day if I happen to be alone. So I like to portion it out based on our activities for the week. And guys, that is it. I had portioned out all the rest as I went along, and my weekly meal prep is done. And guys, of course, if you like this video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe if you have not already done so. And guys, thank you so much for coming along with me on this delicious journey. I will see you again very soon. Take care, guys. Bye.